Shoot. Just like with the girl I just had the situation with, I told you about, where she told me she didn't want to be in a relationship. She wasn't ready for a relationship.
Yeah.
But then you post in your story, God, please send me a husband that can fix things. So in my head, I'm saying that's fucked up because you told me you weren't ready. I'm okay with you being honest with me. Tell me you don't want to be with me.
But now you put in the persona as if like, oh, no, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'll be real with you, man. My toughest breakup, bro, and obviously the fallout on that breakup was obviously, I have my son out of that breakup, but I remember breaking up with my co-parent, and that was like the hardest decision I ever had to make because of the fact of, you already know as a man, when you leave a woman, especially when you have a young child together, the automatic narrative is if you're leaving your family. What is going on? It's your boy Jay Derosier,
and that's Tre. Your boy Tre was good,
my dog. And this is the Fupas and Flapjacks podcast, y'all. Welcome to another episode. We always joined by none other than the voice of God. Podcast Dr. Phil. Do you not love us no more?
I guess he disappeared on us today.
Well, he's not here today, guys. Unfortunately, it's just us today. It's just us today, guys. So, with that being said, y'all, as you guys know, as every episode starts, we have always a theme for every single episode. This episode is going to be navigating breakups and making it a journey of self-discovery. Now, Tre, as a man who's had a couple of relationships, me too, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
As a black man, how do you navigate, that aspect of knowing when you're ready to separate from someone, and how do you, amicably do it without the tension and the drama around it?
I think that is something that I've just learned to get into, to be honest with you, because I grew up with a lot of insecurity. So a lot of the times it was the other person breaking up with me and me trying to latch on to somebody and hold on to somebody because, my self-worth wasn't there. So I was not trying to break up with someone. Once I went to therapy and everything, and I got myself together. Once I went through that, I started to look at alignment. And now it's more like, if I don't feel fulfilled by you, if I don't feel like this is what I'm saying from last episode about being equally yoked on different avenues, then you're not the person for me. And I think that the hardest for me right now, the hardest thing for me right now with dealing with breakups is trying to find that way of not being mean, but coming across of being like, this is how I feel though.
Yeah.
So far, the only way I've been able to do that is saying like, hey, we just don't gel, or hey, like we just don't mesh, or hey, like it's just not working because I don't think we're good right for each other. And I feel like sometimes that leaves the other person in confusion because they're like, what do you mean? And I haven't navigated that part because sometimes you don't want to hurt another person and make them feel less of themselves, when reality is we just don't work with each other.
Yeah.
With someone else, it could be great. So don't put yourself down because I don't want to be with you anymore. It's not about you being a bad person. We are not a fit. And so I'm trying to navigate that like healthy way of, and I hope the next person I'm with, I don't have to do that. Right.
Yeah.
But going through a breakup, having the right words to say to not hurt a person, but at the same time, give that closure that we're just not for each other.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to breakups, especially what you just said, like that last part, that is a very complex emotion to try to navigate when you're, hey, we're not right for each other, but I'm not trying to make you feel like you're the reason why, or you're less than once we separate.
Right.
Me personally, I've gone through situations, this, like we have these conversations often. I've gone through situations where I've been the one broken up with, where it's been like I've been ghosted, or I've been in situations where I just didn't see the benefit. And I'm not saying benefit for me as in like, I'm getting something out of this relationship. The benefit in prolonging the inevitable. And this is gonna sound terrible, kind of, but I've been, you know, this. I've been one to cut the cord early rather than let it play out.
Right.
And
self-sabotaging.
Not self-sabotaging. No, not at all. I'm just saying, like, if I see something that's not working, whether
okay.
Like, if I address something to you, like, hey, I don't like when we go out and you do this, and every time we go out again after that, you keep doing the same repeated behavior. Why would I prolong the inevitable? It's obviously you don't respect my word or respect my opinion or how I feel about things. So I'm just gonna cut it off right there.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, nah, maybe they're gonna change. Maybe they're gonna change. Maybe they're gonna change, and it never happened. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's good. In the midst of doing that, people can understand, like, okay, that may be his standard, but that may not be the next guy's standard. Okay, but if you want to be with me, that's my standard. Just like for a woman, she has her standard.
Yeah.
Forever what she wants in that relationship, that's based off of her. Another woman might have a different prerogative. So you can't be offended when someone wants to cut ties or don't want to deal with you anymore because you don't fit their mold, because the next guy or next woman will fit that mold. So it's tough because I think a lot of people don't know how to communicate that.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are nervous. I don't like breaking up with people. I don't like the feeling. I get nervous. I get anxiety. I don't enjoy it. I don't like the fact of hurting someone's feelings. And typically what people do is they feel the anxiety. So instead of communicating, they ghost. That's the best they can do. I've started to, I've gone through this thing of, like, this is me going through therapy, of going through, I don't need closure.
Right.
You ghosting me, you walking away is the closure. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you making that decision. And that's me giving grace to say that you didn't have the capacity to do that. Yeah. And that's okay. I think that sometimes when we think about people ghosting and everything and breakups, that we don't think about their mental health or what they're going through, because we're so hurt. We're thinking about ourselves. We're not thinking about, and selfishly so, you're hurt. So of course you're gonna think about yourself. But like in the midst of it, that was a hard decision for the other person. And now, one of two things. Now they're going to live with the fact that they ghosted. They're gonna feel bad about it. Yeah. Or two, they're gonna realize they made a mistake and they're like, dang, like I ghosted them, but I really want to be with them. And like I kind of self-sabotage myself. I want to be with them, but I'm kind of messed it up. And now I'm in this like kind of like what's the word? In Catholic
purgatory.
You're in this purgatory space in between where you can't really go either way, because now you're like, I want to be with this person. So a person who ghosts has to deal with that. Yeah. They have to deal with those repercussions for the choices they made. But I think I've started to give more grace to people for making decisions that they make.
But one thing about that navigation when you're in purgatory, that causes a lot of like the toxic breakups, because now you're spinning the block. Yeah. All the time. And we all know anytime you spin the block, it usually ends up worse than the last time you seen them, or the last time you spun the block, or the last time you try to work it out. We had this conversation on a previous episode where I spoke about a young lady who self-sabotaged, broke up, ghosted me, and we spoke about it plenty of times, even in our personal lives, like how many times she tries to spin the block. Yeah. With like little things, whether it's liking a podcast post, commenting on a podcast post, or like sliding in the DMs talking about how proud she is of me. I'm going to ask you this on camera for the world to see, just so if I don't hold my word to it, you can hold my feet to the fire. We're proof. Okay. With that young lady, you know exactly what I'm referring to. How should I navigate that? Because that's something that's somebody who I cut off more or less like 2 years ago at this point, right? Right. Maybe more. But yeah.
Like I told you before in this situation, because we've had this conversation before when it came to exes. I've told you that I'm not going to judge you based off of choices that you make for yourself and for your heart. Your journey is your journey. Now, if you're doing something wrong, you know I'm not quick to tell you like, hey, bro, kind of.
I'm walling.
But when we're talking about love, dating, breakups, relationships, it's a feeling experience. I would never look at you sideways for giving someone a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance.
I guess in her case, a sixth chance.
Whatever the chance may be, God gives us a lot of chances. Right. And when we think about love, and I posted about love the other day, Like love never fails. Love is patient. Love is kind.
Yeah.
When we think about what love really is, and what God equals to love, I can't come at you for how you feel about a person or give us one another chance.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to let you experience relationships and love the way you want to experience it, and that's for anybody.
Yeah.
You should not feel bad for giving someone another chance. You shouldn't feel stupid for it. That's a choice you made because that's something you believe in. We all believe in, whether you believe in a different higher power, whether you believe in God, Buddha, Allah, whatever you believe in, you have faith in that, and you move with that in feeling. So if you have faith in a person, who am I to tell you, unless they've done something verbally abusive to you or physically abusive, because I don't want to talk about extremes. I want to talk about normal breakups. Yeah. Unless it's been something like that, if you have faith in that person, you believe that was your person, then go get your person. Yeah. And don't let your friends or anyone else who are still dealing with their personal trauma try to tell you that you shouldn't do what you do to get your person. Yeah. So that's how I look at the situation.
I appreciate that, dog. I do. Because I'm not going to say I've been thinking about this young lady. It's just that it's one of those situations where she consistently spins the block. We have this conversation all the time. I feel like it seems like with her. And it's come to a point where I don't understand the aspect of, if you didn't want me then, why do you want me now? Nothing has really changed besides, obviously, our career. Mm-hmm. Well, my career, I guess I should say. So it's like, if you didn't want me then and you found a way to shoot your own self in the foot, why would you come around now when you know I'm happy, you know I'm fulfilled emotionally and mentally and physically? Now it seems that you just trying to find a way to squeeze in now because you feel like, the topic is not on you after the breakup.
Closure. In your situation, what do you want? I'm not talking to you.
Right.
I would ask her, what do you want? Answer me, what do you want? Because if you're not wanting to do anything with me, then stop talking to me. Yeah. And leave it at that. What do you want? That's how I look at it. Like, we need to have a real conversation, because clearly we might not have it. We might be just being toxic with each other, just throwing jabs at each other. I'm being serious now, because I can't move forward with my life because you keep jumping in. What do you want? Because you know that I had strong feelings for you. I know you had strong feelings for me. And we didn't really get to explore that because you ghosted. And I'm going to let you know you ghosted. Yeah. And tell you about yourself. Okay, I'm giving you grace now to speak without me judging you. What do you want from me? Because if not, we need to break it off. You need to let me go and find my person, because you're not that clearly. Right. That's, to me, how I would address the situation. And we haven't really talked about how I would address it, because I kind of just let you fill out the situation, whatever. But and I know I know you've taken a break from dating, and I know you've got people who are interested in you and everything. And they watch the pod and they whatever. But the case may be is that, for me personally, on the outside looking in, that's a chapter that has to be closed off, or the page has to turn. Either way. Yeah. Either we block the chapter and it's done, or we continue the story. That way I can live my life. Because what's the point? And if you're doing this for no reason, then every chance I get to see you, I'm blocking you on everything. Every chance I get, because now I know you're not doing this for love. You're not doing this because you want me. You're not doing it because you genuinely care for me. You're doing this for your own pleasure or mental deranged mindset. Yeah. That's just how I look at it.
No, I'm with you, bro. That's when I seen this topic on the board for us to speak about. I was like, it's one of those topics where it's not for me to get my stuff off. It's more so like it's for me to just be open and honest about. Yeah. Because it's one of the reasons why we started this podcast, to create a safe space for black men and black women to just talk about their real feelings. And this is one of those things that's kind of like my real honest feelings. Like, I always crack the joke about trying to be toxic and being toxic. No, I'm just being real right now. Like, forget the jokes, forget the podding right now. Yes. Like, this girl has completely and consistently come around just to shoot her shot, act like she cares, or whatever the case may be, and then ghosts right after.
Yeah, alters your life every time.
Every single
especially when you are getting to know someone different.
Mm-hmm.
And
it seems that that's all the time she comes around. Either that or like something great happens for me. And then she's like, hey, love what you're doing with the show. Hey, I saw that post with you and your son. You guys are amazing. Like, you're an amazing father. Like, it's always something, bro.
Yeah.
And she doesn't just stay away.
Yeah, and that's the important part of breakups, right? It's like when it's time to be done, it's time to be done. And there's people out there who deal with someone who keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. There was a girl that last year who I was so infatuated with, and I felt like that was my person.
Right.
And I kept going back and going back and going back. And after we had like kind of stopped talking. And the closure for me in that situation was when I found out that the whole entire time we were talking, she was talking to somebody else. And I found that out through a TikTok. Because she had blocked me on everything. I didn't know why she blocked. It's kind of like a ghost. She had just blocked me on everything.
Yeah.
And I was so confused. I was like, yo, what the hell? Why am I just blocked? So, of course, on Instagram, you can't, once you're blocked on Instagram, any profile you make with that same thing, you can't view. But on TikTok, it's different. On TikTok, if you make a different username,
okay.
It doesn't block everything. So I go to the page, and I see that she was talking about this thing called like this 12 letters notes thing that you write down all your manifestations, and then you burn it. And you like each time you burn it, every day you burn a different manifestation for 12 days. It's supposed to happen the next year. And she talked about her man and her did it for December 2023. And I was like, but you were talking to me and telling me about that and doing that. And I was talking about flying to see you and did it. And I was like, this girl really played me. And that, to me, that was like the moment where I kind of cut that off in my head, where I don't even want to reach out to you. I don't even want to talk to you. Hey, whatever life you want to live, you live that life. Yeah. I'm done. I'm good.
And that was your form of closure.
Yeah. With her, that was my form of closure, to see, like, because I was so confused.
Well, you saw her for what she was.
Yeah.
Who she was, I should say. Who she was.
So confused. And, you know, it can mess you up when someone just, you know, kind of plays with your emotions or feelings like that. But yeah, no, it was crazy, man. So,
but that's still a strength. That still shows strength for you to even openly understand how you were feeling in that moment, to say, I'm not tolerating this anymore. This is not fair to me and to what I need to do to either evolve as a person or grow as a person. I'm not gonna say holding you back, but you still have some, like, you kind of, instead of having a chain on me, I still have a string.
She was always a person. To me, she was always a person that...
You still have a string to her. Now like, that you cut that off, you're like, I
always felt like, man, but what about her? You date someone, what about her?
Yep.
And so... I'll say this. The reason for me now that closure is easy to deal with is because when I was younger, I can see this visually. When I think I was like 21, 22, I was dating this girl. And I remember she was sick at home and her friends came over. And I brought my PS2 over to her house so she could watch movies. She was sick. And I remember walking in and everyone just started staring at me. She didn't really smile. Like, everyone just looked at me. And I got that feeling of, oh, it's about to happen.
Yeah.
She's about to break up with me. I can feel the vibe. And I remember getting I used to drive to Durango. I remember getting into it and I drove back to work. And I remember I just sat in my car and I just started crying. And I was just like, God, why don't nobody want me? Or why do I keep going through this situation of someone breaking up with me? And I keep giving my all and giving my all and giving my all. And I think it wasn't until I was 27 where I got therapy and I went through some things to really be like, learn to love myself and learn not to tolerate certain things and be like, no, this is what I want. This is what I deserve. I'm not going to tolerate anything less. And yes, it may hurt me a little bit that we break up or don't work, but in the long run, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be good. Yeah. And so for me, I've taken that with me with any relationship or with any person. Even with, like I said, the chick that I felt like, oh, what if? It was nothing. When I realized that situation was what it was, the cutoff was easy. Yeah. And I didn't have to think back and be like, oh, shoot. Just like with the girl I just had the situation with, I told you about, where she told me she didn't want to be in a relationship. She wasn't ready for a relationship. Yeah. But then you post on your story, God, please send me a husband that can fix things. So in my head, I'm saying that's fucked up because you told me you weren't ready. I'm okay with you being honest with me. Tell me you don't want to be with me.
But now you put in the persona as if like, oh, no, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'll be real with you, man. My toughest breakup, bro, and obviously the fallout on that breakup was obviously, I have my son out of that breakup, but I remember breaking up with my co-parent, and that was like the hardest decision I ever had to make because of the fact of, you already know as a man, when you leave a woman, especially when you have a young child together, the automatic narrative is if you're leaving your family. And I remember thinking to myself like, bro, I tried so hard to make it work. I tried my hardest and I was just fed up. And I knew once I walked out that door for the final time, it was going to be the narrative of, oh, he doesn't want to be a dad, or he's leaving us, instead of like, oh no, I'm just leaving this woman. I'm still going to be a dad. Obviously, you know my relationship with my son. I see my son damn near 3-4 days a week. Was it 6 days a week if I have him that weekend? So I love being with my kid. Yeah, like I love being a dad. But I remember struggling on making that decision to break up with her because of our son. Right. And I remember thinking to myself like, yo, how am I going to do this? I can't do this. I'm going to have to just tough it out because of, I may not be happy now, but hey, my son's going to be the happiest kid on earth seeing mom and dad together all the time. But now, hindsight being 2020, my son is 10 times happier now that we're not together.
You made the best decision because, and I'm not saying about my parents, because my parents are best friends right now, love each other. They're great. But when I was 11 and my parents divorced, and they brought me and my younger brother into a room, and they divorced, I remember how bad that hurt because I thought my parents were going to be together forever. And I remember breaking down crying. At 11 years old, I understood the dynamic of the situation. And that feeling made me like think of like, I don't want to put my kids, my significant other, through that tough decision to the point where it's like, that's why how we're dating now and how I'm looking at things now, if I'm quick to like, if we're not working, let's not do it, because I want to find the person that is forever with, so I don't have to have my kids being that, hear those words, me and your mom didn't work out, we got to separate. Yeah. It's not a great feeling. And so it's great for like your son at an early age didn't have to capture that feeling, and y'all made the healthy choice that was better for both of y'all and your son at the same time.
Yeah. Sometimes I still think about this from time to time. Like, damn, not also like I make the right decision. It's just more so like, as a black man, I'd hate to be the guy who made another broken home. Right. But in my son's case, it's not a broken home. Like, he still sees mom and dad happy together. When it comes to his birthdays, parent-teacher conferences, doctor's appointments, neither of us miss anything. Right. We're more than happy being co-parents and working out and raising a beautiful young boy. Especially, obviously, it's well known. My son is on the spectrum. It's well known. And for us to have that foundational piece of, hey, before the love, the sex, the toxicity, the indiscretions on both sides, like, we were friends. Yeah. Like, we need to find that friendship again and raise this child, I'm not gonna say the right way, raise this child where it's a situation and he doesn't even have to remember that when last time he see his mom and dad kiss. Right. Because in his eyes, he never seen mom and dad kiss. Right. We broke up before he was like 8 months old. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think now when it comes to dating now, right? Yeah. To circle back to the main point, when it comes to dating now, I don't have the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have the hesitation now to cut off a relationship or break up. Because I'm like, bro, I went through the toughest breakup you could possibly go through when it comes to co-parenting relationship, somebody that you were in love with, that you had a child with, that you thought you were going to be with forever, person I thought I was going to marry. Like, I broke up with that. Right. I do not care if you don't like me because I chew my gum too loud. I don't care if you think I'm going to stay with you forever just because I tell you, like, yo, you are a heavy drinker, you need to settle down, and you don't know how to handle your liquor. I'm still going to leave. Right. I went through another breakup that was tough. This ain't nothing for me. Right. And I'm fine. I'm comfortable in my own skin to know that what I'm gonna tolerate, what I'm not gonna tolerate, what I am gonna love, what I'm not gonna love. I think that's an issue with a lot of people that don't love themselves, something that you mentioned before with therapy. A lot of people don't love themselves, so they'll deal with the toxic breakup and stay there and consistently go through that shit. And then when they finally leave, they're like, yo, I wasted years with this person because you didn't see that self-love in yourself to understand, like, hey, I'm a beautiful black man. I'm a beautiful black woman. I can leave this. I don't need this. There's plenty other fish. There's literally plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Like, there's two, like, you had the conversation. My DMs on a daily basis is going crazy. There's plenty of fish in the sea. I'm not even interacting with those people. And I know there's plenty of fish in the sea. Yeah. So why would I sit here and allow you to stress me out? Allow you to make me feel like I'm less than. Allow you to fuck up my psyche to the point where when I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, who's that guy I'm looking at? Or same thing for a woman. Why would you let any man do that to you? Right. Like, bro, just move on. It's going to be tough. Like, let's say that. I'm just going to be real, child. It's not going to be easy. I'll be the first one to tell you. Tre just spoke about his breakups. I've spoken about my breakups. It's not going to be easy. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But I'd rather you suffer for 2 weeks of sadness rather than 20 years of bullshit. And that's real. But you can go ahead.
Well, because, I mean, it's just, you learn how to deal with pain. Yeah. And that's something that when I went through breakups and when I went through therapy, I learned how to deal with pain and hurt. And it doesn't last as long anymore. Yeah. It hurts a little bit less. And it makes you feel good that you are following your purpose and finding the right person. So what I would tell someone is if anyone's watching this and they're in a relationship and it's not suiting you, take that risk. And I'm not saying just to break up for something small. What I'm saying is if this really isn't for you, take that risk, take the jump, because in the long run, you're going to benefit from it.
Right, exactly. So I hope to answer your questions with this episode. It's a real good episode, real concise, straight to the point. Actually, before we go, quick fire. What would you say to a person that is finally done with a breakup, but is trying to find a way to build themselves back up?
After a breakup?
After a breakup.
I think, and what's something I've been doing right now and working on is working on my 7 chakras. I am a believer of God and Christianity, but I do believe different religions have different impacts on your life that can help you develop as a person. So, 7 chakras, meditation, being in the gym, taking care of your body health, clean dieting, eating right, and focusing on your purpose outside of a relationship. So doing things that you love to do. And doing things you love to do is tough sometimes when you're hurt because it's like all you can focus on is the breakup. Yeah. But trying to get into a routine like that. And then also if you are a believer of God, say, God, I'm done. And a lot of times when you say it and you believe it, you wake up, you're like, damn, I really am done. Yeah. So.
Also, another thing, for the men out there, if you're going through a breakup, and this is coming from the bottom of my heart, I'm not trying to be sarcastic when I say this, and the women too, please be careful of what you're consuming by the media when you're in the middle of a breakup. Because the last thing I would want for anybody to be like is, this one person broke my heart, so everybody that fits into the same person's mold ain't shit. And I genuinely want you guys to understand that when I say this. Please be careful of what you're consuming from the media when you're going through a breakup, because you're literally at your most vulnerable on this earth. Please be careful.
No, that's facts. That's what we're dealing with. When you have these relationship conversations, and we're talking about breakups right now, so I don't think we're gonna get much flack about talking about breakups. But
no, we shouldn't.
You're exactly 110%. There's a lot of people who are hurt, broken on social media, arguing back and forth, men and women, about stuff and putting everyone in the same box. Women saying this is why women date women now, and men being like, this is why, you'll never be married, you'll be single forever. Like at this point, it's, if you are going through hurt, you need to shut the world off and you need to be with yourself. Yeah. And so you are exactly 110% right about not letting media, social media, and other outside forces affect your mindset while you're hurt, because you are in a vulnerable state, and things that are said It enter your psyche, and that's how you start to think and believe.
Exactly. So, guys, with that being said, it's been another great episode of Fupas and Flapjacks podcast. Next week, Phil will be back. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, we missed the guy, man.
We missed the guy. Like, we don't hear him.
We ain't here. I have a Fupa.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, he's supposed to be his drop, but he's not here today. But will be here on the next episode. So, guys, on behalf of myself, on behalf of Tre, and everybody else at the Jay Derosier Media Network, we appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and we'll be out.